Alexandre.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
How are
Uh,
you doing today?
Good, good. I'm sharing the screen with you.
Okay, let's see the screen pull up and see what happens. How do we say the name of your company?
Blobr, B-L-O-B-R.
It's a very exciting thing. Oh, no, it disappeared. Oh, there we go. We
Yeah,
were in
it's
an MC Escher art for a minute, but we're all good. I think it looks great. I'll catch you on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, we have a topic today, how to build a profitable API business. So trying to guide you through the methodology that we have created at Blobr to help companies to think about how they can monetize their APIs and make profit from their API business. So definitely going to share with you a high-level view of the methodology that we use. And as well, I will share with you the link where you can download it and see by yourself how you can use it. So small intro about myself and the company, Blobr. So I'm Alex Airvault. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Blobr. We are a team of 12 people. We created the company 1 year ago. We have already more than 200 companies using Blobr. And what we provide is a SaaS for any company to build their own branded API portal. So basically, they just need to upload their APIs to Blobr. And then from Blobr, they can create different products, package the content of their APIs, decide about the monetization strategy that they want to apply. They can as well customize the branding, the colors, and then they can start to share their APIs and even sell them with partners or customers. So it helps on one side providers to have like a nice API portal to drive adoption. And for the API users, it's just like a big change in terms of API experience because they in live, they can test the API, they can see the usage analytics about their consumption and receive their invoices at the very same place. So really cool for them to get this information. Myself, I'm more of a business background, working a lot on monetization topic for the last 10 years with Gemalto, who was the leader in monetization strategies, either working for HP or Philips companies, like examples. So yeah, today I'm going to share with you some of the knowledge that we used and share with you. So to start with, I will start with a bit of context of the API economy. So when we speak about the API economy, that's for us, we are firm believers that the API economy is just starting and that the relative value of data in the tech stack is going to increase like crazy. Why? It's because before the value of the tech stack was in infrastructure, then it moved to software, and now the next move is to data and APIs. We see that APIs are everywhere in very different sectors. There are big trends like machine learning, autonomous behavior, IoT connections in the specific sectors. We see as well low-code tools where more and more people can create software, where the value is shifting then to APIs. And then the last thing is as well part of our research is that we see more and more companies who are API-first businesses. We made the research on the YC, which is like the biggest incubator or accelerator in the world. And they have now 20% of the last YC batches, which are API-first businesses. And you can think it's the future of the economy or the where it's going. So it's really nice to see that it's picking up and we are just starting with the API economy. So when we speak about the API economy and the API monetization, there are quite often two types, internal monetization and then external monetization. Internal monetization, if I summarize, it's more like creating value internally and how you monetize your API, your efforts internally. Then the external monetization, it's more when you are going to exchange your APIs with other services on goods externally, either with partners or customers. where you could involve your APIs in your existing products, thinking about SaaS products where you add your API as well. Or you consider that you're going to sell directly your API with specific licensing terms. Of course, that's where I'm going to focus now. It's more this part and how you can use a specific methodology to think about your business and to apply licensing terms to your APIs. So before jumping to the full description of the methodology, just a reminder of thinking about API products. What is an API product? I like to summarize that it's an API that should get something easy to explain and job done for a specific user. So definitely you need to think about your different customer segments, think who are the right targets, what is the specific use case that they want to solve with your API product, so that then you can easily define what is the API product behind. It's always better to start from the consumer and the customer, understand what is the job that they want to get done, and then provide the product in adequation. To start with the methodology, the first thing is, of course, to get a good overview of what is the market landscape of competitors on your own sector, what are the big trends that are happening. But then when you have that done as a first overview, you really need to go first to the customers with different types of interviews. You have the type of interview which is called the voice of the customer. So you basically ask the customer all the things that they want and the needs. You have the follow me home type of interview where you can ask and understand the final customer, how they are using APIs in their specific habitat, right? And then the final one, it's the jobs to be done. So you come to a common understanding and agreement with customers where you list specifically what you want to be done, and you get the agreement from your customers. In parallel of that, it's really cool to assess as well the value of your data, like if it were they were skills. So taking really an approach on your own data and think about different attributes. So either your data is unique. So thinking how is it unique? Do you have other competitors using the same or providing the same data? How dependent people will be on your data if they use it? What is the quality of your brand, for instance, for sharing your API? What will be the quality perceived? How relevant your data will be? So it could be as well the freshness of your data. Is it really real-time data that you provide? Then you have other things like location, because depending on different regions of the world, it doesn't have the same value for different type of segments. And then the final one is, of course, what is the value that is going to provide your data? So when you have described your different customer segments and you understand the value, then we need to do a deep dive into what is the real value and how to assess at a granular level the value of the data to build up your API products. So what we've seen as kind of a rule is that really the Pareto Rule works really well. 80% of the value comes from 20% of your API. So that it's an approach that you can take. Or if there are still a lot of data points, we advise quite often to select 5 data points, which seem to be really valuable for a specific customer segment. And once you have done that, you can therefore pick up extreme values for the specific data and see what will be the value for those extreme values. So if those are numbers, you can take the lowest value of an interval, the medium value, and the highest value. If it's a location, you can take the location, for instance, EMEA, NORAM, or Asia. If it's a text value, you can take the most common values. And all of this, selecting boundary and common values, from 5 data points, you come to 15 potential values. And then those values, you need to assess them in the context of customers. So How to do that? The best way to do that, that we have experienced, is to take those data point results and values and compare them or analyze them with the facts of the customers. So what are the pains that this specific value is solving for a specific customer segment context? What is the gain that people will get based on a customer segment as well, which type of result they're going to get? And then from there, from the pains and the gains, you can understand what is the materiality of each pain that you are going to solve, or the materiality of each gain. And on top of that, you need to think, of course, about the frequency. How often is it understand better? What is the frequency of how often it happens? You can then just multiply the materiality by the frequency, and then you get the total monetary benefit that someone can expect from the specific data result. That's the first level of going down in the methodology for monetization. Next, when you have done this analysis, you need to take a step back, look at all the data and think about them, the data points that you have, the services that you have, and think about them as features. And when I say features, it means that features are not all equal. You have some which we call leaders, others fillers, and killers. Leaders are the features where your customer would not buy your product if they are not part of it. The fillers are more like the nice to have features. We all know those kind of features. And then the killers is like if someone would have to pay for them, they would not buy your product. So mapping with just this simple way between leaders, fillers, and killers, you can already get an overview of how you can package the different features and different data together. When you have this first overview of what is happening in terms of leaders, fillers, and killers, the next thing is to have an idea as well on the pricing. And then to think about the pricing, about those different features, if you put them together, or at a data value level, to understand what would be the pricing for them. What is good is to go back to your potential customers or existing customers and ask them what if they would be paying for the specific data, and understand what is too expensive, what is too cheap, what is a good value, and what is expensive. And basically, when you understand that, where your customer says, yeah, for sure, no way I will buy this product if it's this price, or it's too much of a bargain, it appears, if I paid too little, it's where you can find your price range. So in this example, here on the slide, if it was 200 euros, it means that you would have like the highest market share. And if it's 500 euros, it means that you would have the highest return per customer. So depending on your strategy and your objective, you can define what would be the right pricing. Once you have made this overall analysis of pricing, packaging, thinking about your different features, now comes the time of how you package your offer. And how you package your offer is a bundle of how you package the content of your API, which part of your API or which APIs together you're going to bundle as a product. So this is really the analysis of the data features and the value of potentially your API and your services. And when you have made the assessments, when you bundle your different products, the idea is to have like a potential way for upsell between your different offers. So you need to be smart about how you do that, and to package them as really as features. What we see is that you need to select always the leaders and the fillers together. So at least some leaders and fillers in the first offer, second offer, leaders and fillers. The killers, you can forget about them most of the time. But really the idea is to always to put a leaders and a filler in each offer at least, so that it brings the customer forward in the different packages that you have. Then in terms of business model, you need to understand the value metric. So it's not always API calls that you need to consider. It can be the number of customers that is the value you need to consider about your APIs. You can have like a specific metric that is not at all related to the number of API calls, but you need to think about it in your business model, and you can be really inventive about what you can think about. Tools like Blobr, we can do like all the metrics that you want for monetization. And then the pricing, it's really assessing the willingness to pay, and it's asking the question I've shared with you before to your customer. So bundling the three together, you can package the different products, define the value metric, so understand exactly how to share and what will be shared. Be able to find as well the right pricing for your users. And once you have done that, it does not stop here. You always need to iterate on the products and the pricing. So you don't need to think that because you offer the product, it's going to stand alone like this and you are blocked with it. You can always iterate and offer different conditions of access, filter some data, for instance, in a product to make some A/B testing on the content, use a metric that is more aligned or change the metric of value. So from calls to users to number of data points responded, whatever you want, and create different products from existing APIs and rebundle it together. So it's really iteration process, and you will never get it from the start. You need to work on it continuously. And to do this, you need to deliver a great API experience. So it means that it's packaging the data and monetizing it with a smart way. It's cool, but you need to deliver a good experience for the final user so that they can finally easily find the different products. So if you have a product catalog, it should be easy for them to pick up the right one, to discover them, to implement them, so to get the API keys and to start to make the first API calls. And then it should be easy for them to see the analytics, their consumption, and their invoicing. So it's really, the job is not finished at doing the monetization. It's really helping the customer being onboarded. And the time to the first call is really, really critical. So everything that is involved in that, you need to think about it and optimize it. That's basically what I wanted to share with you. We have on our website a detailed white paper. We have all the methodology where is much more details than what I shared today, where you have information about more tables to go into analysis of your each data that you have, that you can download from our website. And you can as well test out Blobr directly from our website. We have as well a new feature that is coming, which is the documentation directly integrated in the API portal with different sequences for products. So for instance, you could say for a product, this is the specific sequence to use the different endpoints so that you can make the best use of the product for the specific use case. And it's going to be released in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot for your time. Do we have some questions?
There we are. Yes. Yeah, I would love, we don't have to share the screen anymore. All the better to see you with. What do you think is the most common mistake that organizations, like younger startups, make when trying to monetize APIs? Do you think it's important to always monetize them, or is that something that you figure out later because it's better to get code to unspaghetti or to become a mobile app, things like that? Do you think it's obviously you have to measure value, but is API monetization at this point, since what is it, 70 or 80% of the internet runs through APIs, is API monetization even necessary anymore?
A great question. So the monetization, so there is the value aspect of putting a price tag on something, but there is as well the being able to share the right thing to the right person. So you have like either a way of you start to expose your API, the full API first, and then you start to iterate and you realize maybe I should have not shared everything to everyone, because there is a path where I could share a little to someone, another target, more specific data, and that's where you learn. Because if you offer the same thing to everyone, it's hard to learn things. It's better to make tests and be able to learn. And then
it's also dangerous. It's dangerous to expose data in the same way to everyone.
Exactly. So it's better to start small and then to iterate on that and go further in your sharing process to whom you want to share data.
Who do you think should be in charge of deciding API monetization strategy?
That's a great question. Quite often we see more and more now product people being in charge of the monetization strategy. So it really depends, of course, on the size of the organizations. At Blobr, we speak more with SMEs, so not large organizations who are monetizing APIs. But by experience, you have some specific rules around API strategy in large organizations. But in smaller organizations, we see that it's the head of product quite often that is in charge of monetization, and with the help of sales.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess sales makes sense because they're the window to the customers, and what the customers want, or maybe customer support as well, would be very useful in that. We underrate customer support across the board in the tech industry and undervalue, but they provide an insane amount of value. But it's interesting that the product people would be in charge of that because they needed more to do. But it is important. It comes back to this theme today that the success is closing that. It's finding the API magic, as Div said, in combining the tech and the business side.
Exactly. And quite often, so far, we've put a lot of effort where it's tech only defining how they're going to share APIs and so on, and having this business layer more and more handled by product people, customer service or sales, is bringing a new horizon for, I believe, for APIs, where people can really think in terms of business terms, what value they can provide. And you don't need to oppose tech and product. They can go hand to hand. But it's something that product can be as well independent as well on this.
It's interesting because when Div was talking, and she said that it's not, there's an app for that anymore. There's an API for that. And I remember 7, 8, 9 years ago when I joined this community, or joined, however, it's an open community, but it's a community APIs. And I used to say, just don't use the word API, say what it does. But I think it's moved on now that it is the driver of business value. So it is part of the discussion and everyone understands it, right?
Yeah. Understanding the business value of the API, it's much more like, because it's more like, it's not like your API, you expose everything it can do. You need to expose what it does for a specific customer segment to solve this specific pain point, right? And that's a shift that we see, I think, the last years in the industry, that everyone is considering more and more the business value of APIs and focusing more and more on the consumer, because a lot of great tools have been done for the infrastructure, but then the consumer has not been like always helped on their own use cases.
Absolutely. And when it comes down to it, the security, the compliance, the privacy is all lying in the boundary of the API. So we have to take it seriously. And whether you're trying to monetize it or not, it can ruin your reputation if you don't take care of it.
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you need to consider.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much and Happy New Year.